Rachel Zegler, fired and broke. So here's what happened. Rachel Zegler, yes, the actress cast as Disney's new Snow White, took a big bite of a poisoned PR apple. In a wildly miscalculated series of interviews, she turned Disney's fairest princess into the internet's favorite punching bag. How? By throwing the 1937 Snow White under the bus so hard it might as well have been a pumpkin carriage. One minute she's Hollywood's rising star, the next, the mirror on the wall is saying, "Girl, you might be the most canceled of them all." It was like watching a fairy tale carriage crash in real time. Messy, glittery, and impossible to look away from. This was a shocker coming from a young actress who was, until recently, considered a Hollywood darling in the making. Remember her breakout in West Side Story?
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere.
It all started when Rachel opened her mouth and inserted foot. She basically said, "Look, it's no longer 1937, our Snow White isn't going to be saved by any prince, and she's not dreaming about true love." Bold, right? Then she doubled down, calling the old animated film weird for focusing on a guy who literally stalks her. Yep, she really went there. Prince Charming, according to Rachel, was a grade A creep. Spoiler alert, this did not go over well. Imagine, Disney hires you to play their classic princess, and you call the original story outdated and the prince a stalker. Brutal.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Disney fans lost their minds. The backlash came faster than you can say mirror, mirror. Lifelong Snow White lovers felt like their childhood got drop-kicked. They were like, did this new Snow White just insult my Snow White? The audacity! Memes popped up with the original Snow White giving Rachel the side-eye. Some even joked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most tone-deaf of them all?" Ouch! She was dubbed Snow Woke, accused of turning a sweet fairy tale into a preachy fiasco. In trying to sound modern and empowered, Rachel had unintentionally cast herself as the villain to a huge swath of the fandom. In short, the internet was outraged, and our would-be princess was now the target of dwarf-sized rage. Pun intended.
Hello? Is there anybody here?
And get this, the Snow White remake already seemed almost cursed with controversy from day one. Fans had been bickering over the casting since 2021, not to mention the Seven Dwarfs drama. Disney hinted they'd be replaced with magical creatures to avoid stereotypes, which just managed to annoy people on all sides. There were even reports of a literal fire on set during filming. So when Rachel's interviews blew up, it felt like the final straw in a string of chaos. And the timing couldn't have been worse. As the release date drew closer, those interview clips kept popping up again and again, like cursed scrolls, igniting fresh waves of fury every single time. It was like pouring gasoline on a campfire right before the big premiere.
Something's wrong. I did know your father quite well.
You'd think Disney's PR fairy godmothers would swoop in for damage control, or at least bippity-boppity-boo some of this mess away. Nope. Disney went silent, like an awkward family dinner silent. As hashtag boycott Snow White and hashtag fire Rachel Zegler trended, the House of Mouse essentially hid behind the castle walls. No official statements, no clarifications, not even a whoops from Mickey. Meanwhile, rumors are that the higher-ups were in full panic mode behind the scenes. They even scaled down the Snow White premiere to a press-free hush-hush event, basically trying to release the film like a state secret. Pretty telling, huh? Talk about a corporate cold shoulder. Disney clearly wanted to distance itself from its own leading ladies drama. The message was loud and clear. You're on your own, girl.
And then Rachel, right in the center, please. Right in the middle. Here we go. And one moment, Rachel. Rachel, let's see the front.
At this point, Rachel had basically become the internet's new favorite villain, at least for that week, snatching the crown of most hated celebrity from whoever held it last. The web always finds a new witch to burn, and Rachel unintentionally volunteered. On social media, all 7 circles of PR hell broke loose. It wasn't just Disney diehards freaking out. Everyone piled on. Hashtag boycott Snow White and hashtag fire Rachel Zegler gained serious traction. And Rachel Zegler blacklisted even trended at one point. Bizarrely, this mess united people who usually never agree on anything. Hardcore Disney purists, anti-woke crusaders, random movie buffs, they all grabbed their torches and pitchforks, metaphorically, for a good old-fashioned internet witch hunt. It was like the Super Bowl of Schadenfreude, and Rachel was the halftime show, for all the wrong reasons. She even managed to spark political outrage amid the chaos. In one fell swoop, Rachel ticked off conservative folks with a snarky comment about a certain ex-president, and angered others by tweeting Free Palestine during a highly sensitive moment. Suddenly, she was getting it from all sides. When it rains, it pours, and for Rachel, it was a monsoon. The internet basically united to drag her like she was the evil queen herself.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
Eventually, Rachel switched to damage control mode. Cue the apologies and clarifications. She insisted in interviews that she never meant to disrespect the original and was just excited to play a strong, modern princess. She gushed about how it was the honor of a lifetime to bring Snow White to life, blah blah. Translation, please don't cancel me, Disney fans. But by then, the villagers with the virtual torches weren't listening. This had already become a textbook example of how not to promote a movie.
This was my father's kingdom. A place of fairness. But the queen changed everything.
Take him away!
Your Majesty,
What did you say?
the people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Now here's where the fallout hit Disney in the wallet. Disney reportedly poured around $350 million into this film, and opening weekend brought in only about $43 million domestically. Ouch. The sound you hear is Mickey Mouse weeping into his checkbook. All that controversy and bad buzz really did scare audiences away. The box office numbers were bleak, way below expectations. For Disney, that's a nightmare scenario. The trolls online were gleeful, chanting "Go woke, go broke," as if they'd cast a curse. And honestly, Disney was staring at a potential major loss on this one. A poisoned apple at the box office indeed.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people. You know, this is a classic film that established the Disney name, and now I'm a part of that legacy to some degree. It's not something I take lightly, and it's just the most emotional experience to see little girls dress up as Snow White, and I hope that they will for years to come.
And what about Rachel? Well, a high-profile flop plus internet infamy equals career kryptonite, at least for now. Rumors swirled that she was being dropped from other projects or quietly shunned by studios. Blacklisted in Hollywood became the buzz phrase around her name, even if that was Twitter gossip. Still, perception is reality in showbiz. She went from next big thing to big question mark overnight. Not exactly the happily ever after she'd hoped for. She also likely kissed goodbye to some huge future paychecks, sequels, merch, endorsements, poof, gone in a cloud of controversy. In other words, she potentially kissed goodbye to the princess-sized paychecks that come with Disney franchises.
You're never shy to meet a person? I like you. I'm never shy to meet a person either. High five. Yeah. Hi. Is that a bluebird? Oh, it's very beautiful. Very nice. You like my dress? I like your dress.
So, can Rachel Zegler bounce back from this debacle? The story's not over yet, and Hollywood loves a redemption arc. Heck, maybe she'll lean into the bad girl image and surprise us. Hollywood loves when an actress pivots from princess to badass villain in her comeback. Maybe she lays low for a bit, picks a humble indie role, and reminds everyone why she earned that Snow White gig in the first place. The girl can act and sing after all. Plenty of stars have come back from worse PR nightmares. Already, some folks are starting to defend her. They say Disney set her up with a cringy script and then left her hanging out to dry. Others admit the internet's backlash was overblown. Shocker! If the narrative shifts, say people start blaming Disney's creative decisions more than Rachel's comments, she might dodge permanent damage. Public opinion is a roller coaster. Today's villain could be tomorrow's underdog story.
Here on the Disney lot, I'm gonna go surprise some fans who are at a lovely little event and party set up to celebrate all things Snow White. Let's go!
More. Let's see if we can do it even louder. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi. This is beautiful. You look lovely. I love you. I love me? So much. I love you.
For now, Rachel's doing the Mea Culpa tour, trying to prove she's a true Disney fan at heart. She's praising the classic, staying off social media missteps, basically trying to rewrite the narrative. Only time will tell if it works. But hey, who doesn't love a good comeback story? Hollywood would surely embrace a plot twist where Rachel becomes a success story instead of a cautionary tale.
3, 2, 1, action! Beautiful. You're a pro.
The moral of this story? If you're a Disney princess, maybe don't call the classic prince a creep, and definitely don't tick off the nostalgia nerds. It's a tough lesson that Rachel learned the hard way. Still, even poisoned apples can lead to an awakening. Here's hoping our girl finds a way to turn this around and script a real happily ever after for herself. Stay tuned, because this fairy tale fiasco might just get its own surprise ending. And trust me folks, you really won't want to miss it.